Thank you, gentlemen. Against my better judgment, and after what Indiana did unfairly to Michigan the other night, I will show grace and recognize my good friend from Indiana for his 5 minutes of questioning.
Well, thank you for that grace, Reverend. Chairman. I mean both. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for your testimony. It's given me several questions to think about and ask you about, but only 5 minutes, so I'll try to get right to it. I want to draw out the idea of numerical limits. If I understood the testimony correctly, I'll just go right down the row. I want to have you summarize your testimony. Do you believe in numerical limits? Do you not? If they're arbitrary, what's not arbitrary? Should there be limits at all? Go straight. Thank you.
Numerical limits are arbitrary currently. The H-2B program and the H-1B program have set limits that are really not, how do I put this, they were not thoughtfully put together. They're just there. 65,000 for H-1B, 66,000 for H-2B. What we see is a program, a new program that takes into account the market needs. And when
who decides what the market needs are? What would you use?
It's probably a combination of things, but basically demand and
as defined by who and what?
As demand probably defined by employers and the testing of the market.
What kind of employers? The ones that belong to the Chamber of Commerce or NFIB or what?
I'm not speaking for the Chamber of Commerce here, but
that wasn't my question.
It would be a test of the market after you've done a sufficient test of the market, and you can show that
you, Department of Labor.
Well, it would be the agency that's charged. Right now, the Department of Labor looks at the labor certification application, so yes.
Thank you. Mr. Benjamin, same kind of questions.
Sir, I don't pretend to be an expert in all the different rules. I can tell you that I live at the ground level, and what that means to me is I have a 24/7, 365 responsibility to care for the elderly, and I just want some help to bring new workers in.
Yeah, so as an aside, let's take a specific question I had for you. Your testimony notes that foreign workers interested in the healthcare field currently face quote, insurmountable roadblocks, unquote. Elaborate on that, please.
Just being able to get them to come in with the limits that are out there currently.
These caps I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
Okay, any other roadblocks?
Sometimes there are cultural roadblocks, and we deal with those in our orientation process. We try very carefully. We let our residents be involved, for example, in the interview process with people that are going to take care of them.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Bauer, did you want to comment on the 65,000, 66,000?
Well, in the H-2B program, the cap has not been reached since 2008. So we are not filling the 66,000 slots that are available.
But would you agree it's arbitrary nonetheless?
It is not related to changes in the economy, but it is certainly clear that in the last several years, we haven't needed more workers than that because we haven't filled those slots.
But would you support a supply-demand kind of scenario that Ms. Reif was talking about?
Not with a program that is structured as the programs are currently structured. We would not support that.
And along those same lines, Ms. Bauer, do you think that a sovereign nation has a duty to its citizens or a right of some kind to have an immigration policy that exists solely to serve economic interests of the nation?
No. I think there's a moral component to the conditions that we allow people to work under in the United States. And there will always be an endless supply of people from other countries who are willing to come here and consider it even a good deal to make $1 or $2 an hour and to suffer under what we might regard as appalling circumstances. But is that really how we want to structure the work of our nation?
I would say, and shouldn't it be the people's decision to make? We're not forcing them here, are we? They're coming here freely. I'd like to think that people in this country and in this world can make better decisions for themselves than you can.
Well, it may be a good decision for an individual person. I don't dispute that.
Thank you. Let me get, because I'm running out of time, let me get to Mr. Musser. You've seen the line of questioning. Can you comment on any of it?
Yes. In regards to H-2B, I think that the returner worker exemption that had been in place is the answer. You know, that speaks to the individual that is not trying to somehow sneak into our country through the H-2B program. It speaks to the individual that has been vetted before and is not a security concern to our country. It's the individual that apparently does like our wages and our housing and the things that we do and wants to come back. So I think that addresses the cap issue.
Thank you, sir, very much. Mr. Chairman, the gentleman from Michigan with poor basketball skills, I yield back.
Grace will be remembered.